You didn't stumble here by accident. Something greater than chance has placed this moment before you. The timing is precise, the alignment undeniable. You are not just watching a video, you are stepping into a coded message the universe has been preparing for you. Every thought, every delay, every twist of your path has led you to this exact moment. And now, you must decide whether to listen, to awaken, or to walk away unchanged. But if you stay, revelation awaits, truths hidden in plain sight, designed to remind you who you truly are. You see, this moment is not ordinary. It may look like just another day in your life, another second passing by, another video among countless videos you could have chosen. But listen closely. The precision of your arrival here is no accident. There is a sacred geometry to timing, a hidden rhythm that moves beneath the surface of your life. Everything that has unfolded until now, the delays, the frustrations, the seemingly random events, has been conspiring to place you exactly here. You might feel like you made a casual choice, clicked a simple link, or followed a faint curiosity. But the truth is far deeper. You were drawn, guided, pulled by something you cannot fully name yet. The invisible currents of destiny have brought you to this very breath, this very instant, this exact alignment. Think of how many moments could have shifted this if you had paused for one more second, if you had taken a different turn, if you had dismissed the feeling that nudged you forward. You might never have been here, but you are, and that in itself is the proof that you are entangled in a design far more mysterious and intelligent than coincidence. You see, the ordinary mind loves to dismiss this as chance, but the deeper self knows better. There is no randomness when it comes to soul-timed awakenings. The universe wastes nothing. Every detour, every hesitation, every delay you once cursed, each was calibrated, each was part of the precision that positioned you at this doorway now. Doesn't it feel strange when you realize it, that something you thought was an obstacle was secretly a clock, delaying you until you could meet this message at the exact vibration you needed, that the frustration you carried yesterday was not punishment but preparation? The paradox is this: the path looked messy, chaotic, scattered, yet beneath it all was a current of order guiding you here. Life hides its intelligence in what seems like disorder. That's the trick. The very obstacles that made you doubt are the ones that prove you are guided. Right now, in this moment, you can feel it if you let yourself. A stillness underneath the noise, a sense of recognition that you cannot logically explain, as if the words you're hearing are not new, but remembered. This is the echo of your soul saying, "Yes, I knew this was coming. I've been waiting." And if you're brave enough to admit it, there have been countless times when you felt something was leading you, whispering, nudging, pulling. How many times did you ignore it? How many times did you think you were lost? And yet every path, even the ones you thought were mistakes, has led here. You see, nothing is wasted, nothing is meaningless. The universe is far too precise for that. Pause and imagine the unfathomable scale of this alignment. Out of billions of people, trillions of choices, endless possibilities, here you are, watching, listening, breathing with this moment. Doesn't it feel like a secret doorway has opened, like time itself bent just enough to allow this meeting? That is not small, that is not random, that is the sacred reminder that you are not wandering alone in a blind universe. You are a participant in a cosmic choreography, and the step you are taking right now has always been written into your dance. You may ask, why now? Why this particular instant? Because your readiness ripened, because something within you reached a threshold, because even though you might doubt your progress, your soul knows you are finally able to receive what once you could not. Life has perfect timing, not early, not late, always exact. Think of a flower that blooms only when the season is right. Forcing it earlier would destroy it. Delaying it would wither it. You are that flower. This moment is your blooming, and this message is the sunlight that your spirit was destined to meet. There is beauty in realizing that you didn't miss your chance. How many times have you feared that you were behind, that you had failed, that you lost your moment? But here you are, proving that you cannot miss what was written for you. Even your detours were pathways. Even your delays were on time. What if all along destiny was not something out there waiting for you, but something guiding you through every twist and turn? And what if this moment is the universe whispering, "See, you are right on schedule"? The human mind wants to grasp, to measure, to explain why this is happening. But some things can only be felt. Some truths bypass logic, because they belong to the language of the soul. Right now, your soul is recognizing that this is not a coincidence. You feel it in the subtle electricity in your body, in the quiet yes that vibrates beneath your that is your proof, that is your confirmation. And the more you lean into it, the more you see the pattern, the people you met who shifted your course, the losses that cleared your path, the delays that set your timing, all of them conspiring so that this very alignment could be revealed. So breathe into this moment. Let yourself feel the gravity of it, not heavy, but profound, not pressured, but precise. You are here because you are always meant to be here. The paradox is that you still had to choose. You still had to click, to stay, to listen. Destiny does not rob you of choice. It simply aligns the choices you make with the timing of your awakening. That is the dance, free will and fate moving together in secret harmony. You think you chose, but you are also chosen. Both are true. This is why this moment is sacred. This is why the exact timing matters. You could not have come earlier. You could not have delayed further. The perfection lies in the now, and as you realize this, the universe leans closer, whispering, "Don't dismiss this, don't skip," because what comes next is not just words. It is the unfolding of the reason you are here. What you are seeing right now is not just a video playing on a screen. It is a mirror held up to the deepest part of you. You may think you pressed play. You may think you arrived here casually. But the truth is that this moment is a reflection of your own readiness. Life speaks in reflections. It doesn't always send you obvious signs carved in stone. Instead, it arranges subtle encounters, moments and messages that echo what is already stirring within you. This message found you not because it is trying to convince you of something you do not know, but because you are finally ready to recognize what has been whispering to you so long. It is less about learning something new and more about remembering something ancient, something you have carried all along. Think about it. How many times have you scrolled past videos, articles, or conversations that didn't stick, that felt irrelevant, that didn't seem to touch you at all? And yet this one stopped you. You paused, you lingered, and something in you said, "Stay." That small pause is not so small. It is your inner world responding to the outer world as if saying, "I know this, I recognize this, this belongs to me." That is why I say this is a mirror. What resonates with you, what pulls you to lean closer, is never foreign. It is always your own truth reflected back in another form, calling you to wake up to yourself. You may wonder why this moment feels charged, why it carries a strange sense of significance. It is because the timing of this reflection is precise. If you had seen these words last year or even last month, they may have bounced off of you. You would have skimmed and moved on. But today, right now, you are receptive. That receptivity is not weakness. It is strength. It shows you have allowed enough space in your being for a new recognition to surface. Like water only reflecting the stars when it is still, you are now still enough within to see yourself clearly in this mirror. And here lies the paradox. This video is both for you and not for you. It is for you in the sense that it has been magnetized to your life, arriving with uncanny precision, speaking directly to your heart. Yet it is not for you in the sense that nothing here is foreign. It is simply your own essence being echoed back. You are not being taught, you are being reminded. You are not being given, you are being awakened to what you already hold. This is why it feels familiar. This is why it feels like you already knew, even though you are hearing it in this form for the first time. Recognition is always deeper than learning. Do you see how this works? Life speaks to you through mirrors. Because direct language is too obvious for the soul. If you were simply told who you are, your mind would reject it. But when you see yourself reflected in unexpected ways, through a video, through a stranger's words, through synchronicity, You cannot deny the resonance. The mirror bypasses resistance. It slips past the logical mind and awakens the knowing that lives beyond thought. That is what is happening right now. You are not just listening to words. You are feeling the recognition in your body. The subtle yes rising from within. That yes is you meeting yourself. Perhaps you have felt it before, those moments when something outside of you spoke so precisely to what was within you that you could not dismiss it. A song lyric, a line in a book, a random phrase overheard, all carrying a strange weight, as if the universe conspired to send it directly to you. That weight is the mark of truth, and here again you are encountering that same weight, that same recognition. This is not because the video is magical in itself. It is because you are magical, and what is outside is echoing what is inside. Now let me ask you this. What if everything you have encountered so far has been a reflection? What if every challenge, every person, every so-called coincidence has been showing you pieces of yourself? The anger you resisted in others, the love you admired in strangers, the lessons you stumbled into, all mirrors, some distorted, some clear, all reflecting parts of you that were asking to be acknowledged. And here, in this moment, you are meeting one of the clearest mirrors yet. It reflects your readiness, your openness, your willingness to step into deeper recognition of who you are. It is tempting to dismiss it, to tell yourself this is just a video, just a moment of curiosity. But notice how alive you feel right now. Notice how something in you wants to lean forward, to pay attention, to keep listening. That aliveness is not random. It is your energy waking up in response to its own reflection. It is the part of you that has been dormant now stirring, because it sees itself in what is being revealed. You are not just consuming information. You are encountering yourself. And here is another paradox. The mirror is both gentle and uncompromising. It does not push itself upon you, yet it does not lie. It shows you exactly what you are ready to see. If you feel stirred, it is because you are ready. If you feel challenged, it is because something in you is asking to grow. If you feel comforted, it is because your soul is reminding you that you are not lost. Each response you feel is evidence of the mirror doing its work, revealing the contours of your own inner landscape. So let yourself linger here. Do not rush past this reflection. Do not convince yourself it is insignificant. Look into it, not with your eyes but with your awareness. Ask yourself, why did this moment find me? Why does it feel like these words are alive, vibrating in me rather than simply being spoken to me? When you ask honestly, you will realize the answer is simple, because you are ready to see yourself more clearly than ever before. And this is the form the universe chose to deliver that recognition to you. What you are meeting here is not an external force trying to sway you. You are meeting your own soul disguised as a message. You are hearing your own voice disguised as mine. You are seeing your own truth disguised as something outside of you. The disguise is necessary, because without it you might overlook yourself. But once you recognize the disguise, the mirror dissolves, and what remains is you, always you. So remember this. The reason you are here is not to learn about me, or about some external truth. The reason you are here is because this video is holding up a mirror, and in it you are seeing what you have longed to remember, that you are not lost, that you are not late, that you are not empty. You are full. You are timely, you are guided, and in this reflection the universe is whispering, yes, you are ready, yes, you are enough, yes, this is the moment you have been waiting for. And as you let that sink in, notice how the mirror feels less like a reflection and more like a reunion with yourself, a reunion with the truth you always carried but almost forgot. This is why you were destined to be here now. What you call coincidence is the language of a universe that refuses to speak plainly. Synchronicity is the way the unseen reminds you that you are not wandering through chaos, even when it feels that way. You may think you stumbled here, that it was chance or an algorithm or just a moment of boredom, but look deeper. How many invisible threads had to align for you to arrive at this very instant? The delays, the distractions, the strange nudges that made no sense at the time. All of them wove together to guide you here. That is not accident. that is orchestration. And the paradox is this: what feels random to the mind feels inevitable to the soul. Consider the moments in your life that seemed like mistakes at the time but later revealed themselves as perfect turns. A missed bus that led to a conversation, a closed door that redirected you to a better one, a loss that carved space for something greater to enter. At the time you may have cursed these interruptions, but in hindsight they gleam with meaning. That is the nature of synchronicity. It hides itself until the pattern can be seen. Only when enough pieces have fallen into place do you recognize the hidden order that has been pulsing beneath the surface all along. And right now, as you listen, that same hidden order is whispering, "You are exactly where you need to be." Doesn't it feel strange? This mix of familiarity and wonder, as though you have been here before and yet it feels utterly new. That is because synchronicity operates outside of linear time. It is not about yesterday or tomorrow. It is about alignment. When your inner state and the outer world strike the same chord, reality sings back to you. This video, this moment, this message, it is that chord. It resonates because something in you called it forth. Not consciously perhaps, but deep. The part of you that longs for reassurance, that hungers for truth, that aches to remember, has magnetized this moment to itself. The reflection could not arrive until you were ready to hear it, and the readiness could not arrive until life had prepared you through everything that came before. Think of how many choices, both small and large, positioned you right here. The decision to wake up when you did, the exact path your thoughts wandered this morning, the subtle impulse that led you to open this platform, the tiny instinct that made you click instead of scroll past. All of them threads weaving into this tapestry. The mind says coincidence. The soul says choreography. You are witnessing the choreography now. The dance of synchronicity is not random. It is precise beyond comprehension. And when you see it even for a moment, it changes the way you understand everything. You stop asking, why me? And start realizing, of course me. How could it be anyone else? It is tempting to dismiss these moments as small, but they are not small, they are portals. Each synchronicity is an opening in the fabric of reality, showing you that the boundaries between your inner world and the outer world are far thinner than you imagine. You think you are one person living inside one body, separate from the events around you, but then a synchronicity occurs, a thought answered by a sign, a question answered by a chance encounter, and suddenly the illusion of separation collapses. You are not isolated at all. You are entangled with the whole, and this moment is proof. The words you are hearing now are not floating randomly through space. They are arriving as a direct response to what your soul has been whispering in silence. Have you ever noticed how synchronicity often arrives when you are at a crossroads? When you are doubting, questioning, searching for a sign? It does not come to entertain you, it comes to anchor you. It comes to say, yes, we hear you. Yes, you are on the path. Yes, keep going. This is one of those moments. You asked, even if you did not form the words. You sought guidance, even if only through your longing. And here the universe responds not with a booming voice from the sky, but with the subtle yet undeniable alignment of right timing, right words, right resonance. Subtle but not silent. Gentle but impossible to ignore once you see it. And notice how paradoxical it is. Synchronicity feels both intimate and infinite. It feels personal, as though the entire cosmos bent itself just to send you this message. And at the same time it feels vast, as though you are touching something beyond yourself. Both are true. The universe does not waste energy sending signs where they are not received. It does not scatter meaning randomly. It speaks with precision. And it speaks to those who are listening. That you are here, listening, means you are attuned enough to catch the whisper, and once you catch it, you cannot go back to pretending you are abandoned or alone. The very fabric of your life has just proven otherwise. So the question is not whether synchronicity is real, it is whether you will honor it. Will you let this alignment remind you that you are guided, or will you brush it off as coincidence and fall back asleep? There is no judgment either way. Destiny is patient, but right now, in this moment, you are being offered a chance to see through the veil, to admit that the universe is alive and conversing with you, to accept that you are not stumbling blindly, but being led with more care than you ever imagined. And if you choose to see it, to honor it, something shifts. You begin to notice more. You begin to trust more. You begin to live not as someone abandoned in randomness, but as someone carried in rhythm. And here is the greatest paradox of all. The moment you recognize synchronicity, you also recognize yourself, because the signs are not separate from you, they are you. They are your own soul arranging the outer world to reflect your inner core. What you see outside is simply the echo of what you have been radiating within. That is why this moment feels so precise. You called it without realizing you called it. You summoned it without words. And now it arrives as confirmation. You are both the asker and the answer, the seeker and the sign. The mirror and the reflection are one. So breathe into this realization. Let it settle into your bones. Coincidence is just the name given by those who cannot yet see the web, but you are beginning to see it. You are beginning to feel how intricately your life is woven, how nothing is wasted, how even the smallest encounter holds the fingerprints of guidance. And as you sit here, listening, you are participating in the most intimate synchronicity of all, the moment when life holds up its mirror and whispers, you are not lost, you are not random, you are being carried. And once you taste that truth, the world will never look the same again. You were destined to see this, because a hidden part of you is ready to awaken and claim a higher truth. The word destined might sound heavy, as if something outside of you carved this moment into stone long before you arrived. But feel deeper. Destiny is not a prison. It is a meeting point. It is where the paths you chose and the paths chosen for you intersect so perfectly that it feels inevitable. This is one of those intersections. It may feel like a random discovery, but notice the strange familiarity that hums beneath it, as if you were not discovering at all but returning to something that has been waiting for you. Awakening is never forced. It comes only when the soil of your being has been tilled by experience, when the struggles and questions have softened the ground enough for the seed to crack open. For some, that cracking feels like a breakdown. For others, like an undeniable longing. But however it shows up, it is the same signal you are ready for more. That readiness is not about perfection, not about being flawless or unshakable. Readiness is simply the moment when you can no longer ignore the whisper that has been echoing in you for years. Perhaps you tried to silence it, distract yourself, bury it beneath responsibilities, but it has never gone away. And now, here, through these words, it has risen to the surface again. The paradox of awakening is that it feels both like a discovery and a remembering. You feel as if you are learning something brand new, yet at the same time there is an unshakable recognition. I've always known this. That's because the truth you are awakening to is not outside of you. It is not something handed down from a teacher or encoded in a message you had to find. It is yours. It has always been yours. All that is happening now is that the layers of forgetting are thinning, the fog is lifting, and you are catching glimpses of yourself without distortion. That is why this feels destined, because your soul decided, long before your mind could understand, that this would be the moment when the fog parted just enough for you to see. Look at how life has prepared you. Think of the trials you endured, the questions that haunted you, the moments of despair when you wondered if there was any meaning at all. Do you see how those were not empty struggles but initiation? They were shaping your capacity to receive, chiseling away at the shell that kept you from recognizing your own light. Awakening requires contrast. Without the nights of confusion, you would not recognize the clarity when it comes. Without the weight of forgetting, you would not feel the liberation of remembering. This is the paradox. Even your suffering was part of your readiness. What you thought was breaking you was quietly preparing you to wake up. And what are you waking up to? Not to some grand external revelation, but to the truth of who you are. To the fact that you are not the small, limited character you once believed. You are not only the mistakes you've made, or the roles you've been given. You are vast. You are luminous. You are a fragment of the infinite, pretending to be small for a while. This truth has been hidden in plain sight all your life, showing itself in glimpses, through the way you feel awe when you look at the stars, or the way time dissolves when you are lost in creation, or the way your heart knows things your mind cannot explain. Those glimpses are cracks in the illusion, little flashes of the higher truth that has always been inside you. Now, as you listen, that truth steps forward more boldly, no longer content to remain a whisper. You may feel resistance to this. That is natural. The mind wants to cling to the familiar story, that you are ordinary, that life is random, that nothing deeper is happening here. But notice how unsatisfying that story feels. Notice how it leaves you restless, searching, hungry for something more. That hunger is not weakness. It is evidence of your awakening. The dissatisfaction with the shallow version of life is proof that your soul refuses to stay asleep. And so you arrive here, drawn to words that validate what you've been secretly sensing, that you are more than you've been taught to believe. Destiny is not about control. It is about coherence, the coherence between your inner readiness and the outer sun. When the two align, a door opens, and you are invited to step through. This moment is one such door. You were destined to see it, not because your freedom has been stripped away, but because your freedom has ripened to the point where you can finally choose more conscious. You can choose to remain in the familiar sleep, or you can choose to acknowledge the stirring inside you and follow where it leads. Both are valid, but only one honors the reason you are here. Do not mistake awakening for perfection. It does not mean you will never doubt again, never stumble, never feel lost. It means that even in your doubt, you will remember there is something greater carrying you. It means that even in your stumbling, you will recognize that the ground itself is teaching you. It means that when you feel lost, you will know the very sensation of being lost is part of the way home. Awakening does not remove the paradoxes of life. It teaches you to live them gracefully, to be vast and small, infinite and human, destined and free, all at once. So let yourself feel the weight of this. You are awakening because you are ready, and readiness is not measured by the outer world. It is not about whether you have achieved enough, healed enough, or figured enough out. Readiness is measured by the quiet yes in your heart, the willingness to lean into the mystery even when your mind trembles. That yes is alive in you right now. That yes is why you stayed. That yes is why these words feel less like information and more like recognition. You were destined to see this not because someone else declared it, but because you declared it long ago. A deeper part of you set this meeting, arranged this moment, and now here you are, fulfilling your own promise to yourself. That is the hidden truth of destiny. It is not imposed from outside. It is orchestrated from within. You are the author of your awakening, the dreamer who set the alarm, the traveler who left the trail of signs. And now, the alarm is ringing. The signs are blazing. The mirror is clear. Will you answer the call? If you do, everything begins to change. Not instantly, not all at once, but unmistakably. You start to notice more synchronicities, more mirrors, more echoes of this deeper truth. You start to trust the timing, even when it confuses you. You start to feel guided, even when the path ahead is unclear. And most of all, you start to remember that you were never asleep at all. You were always dreaming, and the dream was designed to bring you right here, to this moment of awakening, to the recognition that you are both the seeker and the one sought. Every distraction that almost pulled you away was a test, and the fact that you are still here is no small thing. You may think you simply decided to keep listening, but look closer. How many chances have already arisen for you to stop? How many impulses tugged at your attention? Your phone buzzing, your thoughts wandering, your doubts whispering that maybe this is nothing. And yet you are here, still present, still listening, still breathing with these words. That is not trivial. That is a demonstration of your soul's quiet determination, the proof that something within you refuses to be pulled away from what matters. Distractions are not accidents. They are the guardians of truth, standing at the doorway to see if you will pass or turn away. Every time you choose to remain, you are declaring something powerful to yourself and to the universe. I am willing. I am willing to hear. I am willing to stay. That willingness is the currency of awakening, more valuable than knowledge, more potent than skill, because the truth does not demand brilliance. It demands presence. It does not ask if you understand everything. It asks if you are willing to sit with what stirs you, and that is exactly what you are doing now. Do not underestimate it. The mind may say, "I'm just watching," but the soul knows better. The soul knows that this choice to remain is the pivot around which your entire life can begin to shift. Think about the paradox of distraction. On one hand, it feels like an obstacle, pulling you away from what matters. On the other hand, it is the very evidence that what you are approaching is significant. The closer you get to the doorway of recognition, the more the noise rises up to challenge you. It is like a threshold guardian testing whether you are serious enough to proceed. If it were meaningless, you would not feel resistance. If this moment were empty, the distractions would not multiply. Their very presence proves the importance of what is happening here. The test is not whether life can distract you. The test is whether you can choose again and again to return to what matters most. Notice how often your life has been filled with noise, endless streams of tasks, responsibilities, habits, voices, all clamoring for your attention. And yet here you are, giving your attention to this moment, carving out a space for something deeper. That is rare, that is sacred. The modern world thrives on your distraction, feeding on the scattering of your energy, but something in you is tired of being scattered. Something in you longs to be whole, to be focused, to be present with what is true. That longing is stronger than distraction. That longing is why you are here. That longing is your soul's signal that the old patterns of avoidance no longer satisfy. You see, the fact that you are still here means you are listening with more than your ears. You are listening with your being. If you were only half present, you would have drifted by now. But the part of you that craves truth is anchoring you. It is guiding you past the noise, past the interruptions, past the excuses. It is saying, do not skip this. Do not abandon yourself again. That voice may be faint, but it is stronger than every distraction combined. And with each moment you stay, that voice grows louder. You are training yourself, not in discipline, but in devotion. The devotion to what your soul already knows is important. Have you ever noticed how distractions often vanish once you commit? It's as if they were never real, only illusions to see if you would waver. The moment you choose, the noise softens, the path clears, the energy flows. That is the power of commitment. And right now, your commitment is simple. You are here. You are choosing to remain with what resonates, to give your attention to the whisper that says. That choice, repeated over and over in small ways, builds a life aligned with truth. It is not grand gestures that awaken you. It is the quiet decision, again and again, not to leave yourself. Think back on times in your life when you did walk away too soon, when you turned from something before it had time to reveal its meaning, when you let impatience or fear or doubt convince you that it was nothing. How many doors did you close before you even peeked inside? And yet notice, even those detours were part of the path that led you here. Even the moments you thought were mistakes were preparing you to recognize the importance of staying now. That is the paradox. Even your past distractions were not wasted. They sharpened your awareness. They taught you the ache of leaving too soon, so that now, when the moment is true, you would finally stay. The fact that you are still here proves something profound. You are listening. You may not realize how rare that is. How many people wander endlessly without ever truly listening to their own soul. But you are giving your attention to the very thing your being has been longing for, and that changes. Every moment of undivided presence plants a seed, and those seeds will sprout in ways you cannot yet imagine. Perhaps it will be a sudden insight tomorrow, a decision that feels clearer, a sense of peace that settles where there was once restlessness. These are the fruits of your willingness to stay. They are subtle, but they are everything. The distractions will not stop forever. Life will keep sending noise, keep testing your focus, keep asking, are you serious? Do you truly want to awake? But each time you choose to return, you strengthen the pathway of remembrance. Each time you stay, you prove to yourself that you are no longer the one who abandons the call. You are becoming the one who listens, the one who honors, the one who refuses to skip what matters. And in that choice, your destiny unfolds, not because it was forced upon you, but because you chose to align with it. So let this moment sink in. Feel the weight of your own staying. The fact that you are still here means that you are already awakening, not someday, not in the future, but now. You are passing the test, not by doing something dramatic, but by simply refusing to turn away. That is how the soul grows, through quiet persistence, through the willingness to return to what is real. Again and again, you are proving to yourself and to the universe that you are ready to walk through the doorway that distractions tried to block. And here is the final paradox. You thought you were choosing to stay with these words, but in truth, you were choosing to stay with yourself. Every time you resist distraction, you are not committing to a video, or a voice, or even a message. You are committing to you, to the part of you that knows, that longs, that remembers. That is why this matters, because the fact that you are still here means you are no longer willing to abandon yourself. And once you make that choice, everything in your life begins to transform. The very fact that you are still hearing these words is itself a sign that the thread of your life is not random. There is a weaving happening behind the scenes, a silent architecture of events and moments that has led you to this precise point in time. You might believe you stumbled here by chance, clicking without thinking, scrolling without purpose, but even your smallest actions are part of a greater pattern. The universe speaks in timing, not in accidents. It whispers through alignment, not coincidence. And now you are beginning to sense that what feels random is actually choreography. The meeting of your eyes with these words, the rhythm of your breath as you listen, the subtle resonance that hums inside of you, none of it is meaningless. It is evidence that the invisible has always been guiding you. Think back on the peculiar turns of your journey, the detours you thought were mistakes, the interruptions that shifted your path. How often have you arrived somewhere unexpected, and only later realized that it was exactly where you needed to be? You might have thought, if only things had gone differently, I would be further ahead by now. But look again. If those things had not unfolded exactly as they did, you would not be here now, at this threshold of recognition. The paradox is that what you thought was delay was actually precision. What you thought was loss was really redirection. What you thought was meaningless was actually the rearrangement of circumstances, so that at the exact right moment, you would arrive here, listening with a heart that is finally ready. There is a phrase often whispered in the language of the soul, divine time. It does not mean that everything is predestined in the way your mind imagines, fixed and unavoidable like a script. Rather, it means that the deeper intelligence of life operates with such elegance that even what feels like detour or chaos becomes part of a larger order. When you are ready to see, the pattern reveals itself. The timing of this moment is not late, not early, not off by a second. It is exact. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are right on time, standing at the intersection of your choices and the universe's design. What if all the delays, the frustrations, the near misses were part of the alignment? What if the opportunities you thought you missed were never yours to begin with? What if the closed doors were actually protection, ensuring that you would not settle for less than what was meant for you? Consider how many times you begged life to give you something sooner, only to later realize that had you received it then, you would not have been able to hold it. The version of you who longed for it was not yet prepared. The one who stands here now, awake, listening, more surrendered, is the one who can finally receive. Timing is not punishment. It is mercy. The universe waits until you are capable of carrying what is yours without breaking under its weight. And here is where the paradox deepens. You are both choosing and being chosen. You exercised countless free will decisions to arrive at this moment. Every yes, every no, every hesitation, and yet beneath those choices, there was also an unseen current carrying you, a river of inevitability flowing toward recognition. You are not a puppet, nor are you abandoned to chaos. You are a partner in a mysterious dance. Your will and the universe's intelligence weave together, so that your freedom and destiny are not in conflict, but in harmony. That is why you feel both the weight of choice and the certainty of being guided. Notice how your mind often struggles with time. It worries about being too late, missing out, falling behind. It obsesses over what could have been, what should have happened, what you might have lost. But the soul does not think in linear time. The soul understands cycles, ripening, unfolding. The fruit does not rush to ripen before it is sweet. The sunrise does not apologize for arriving only at dawn. And you, your awakening, your path, your readiness, are not out of sync. You are arriving exactly when you are meant. Every step before now was part of the preparation, even the ones you resented, even the ones that hurt. Imagine looking back on your life from a higher vantage point, as if you could see the tapestry of all your experiences woven together. You would notice that the threads that seemed out of place were actually necessary for the whole design. The darker colors give depth to the lighter ones. The knots and tangles on the underside create the beauty on the surface. Nothing is wasted. Not a single moment, not a single decision, not a single wound. All of it is part of the weaving that brought you here. The fact that you are listening to these words right now is the proof. You could not have arrived earlier, and you could not have arrived late. You arrived now, and now is perfect. Feel the relief of that recognition. The weight of regret begins to dissolve when you understand timing. The fear of being late evaporates when you realize there is no lateness in the soul's unfolding. You were never meant to be anywhere other than exactly where you are. Every misstep was not misalignment, but calibration. Every closed door was not rejection, but redirection. Every delay was not denial, but preparation. And now, in this moment, the doors are opening, the timing is ripening, and the signal has reached you. That is why you feel it so deeply. That is why something inside you says, "This is for me." But here is the paradox you must hold with care. Timing is both precise and fluid. The universe can deliver the exact moment, but you must choose to enter it. You can be presented with the doorway, but only you can walk through. You can be aligned with the signal, but only you can decide not to dismiss. Many are given these moments and ignore them, convincing themselves it is coincidence too small to matter. But you are listening. You are choosing to recognize what others overlook. That recognition is what transforms timing from possibility into destiny. The moment is here. The question is, will you honor it? Right now, feel into the truth that nothing has been wasted. Every heartbreak, every waiting period, every season of confusion was secretly in service to this arrival. You are carrying within you a ripeness that could not have existed earlier. You are hearing in a way you could not have heard before. That is the gift of timing. It ensures that when the moment comes, you are no longer half asleep but fully ready. You may not feel ready in your mind, but your soul has been preparing silently, beneath the surface, in ways you didn't recognize, and now it is surfacing. So pause with me here. Feel the paradox of effort and grace, of freedom and inevitability, of patience and urgency. You are not late, you are not early, you are here. And here, what you are beginning to notice now is not just that timing has led you here, but that the entire fabric of your reality is far more pliable, far more responsive than you have been taught to believe. The walls you thought were solid are not walls at all. They are curtains, thin veils that bend and shimmer when you touch them with awareness. What seems fixed begins to shift the moment you observe it differently. What you once assumed was permanent begins to rearrange itself when your consciousness rests upon it with a new quality of attention. This is the paradox of creation. You are both moving through reality and reality is moving through you. A dance of reflection so intimate that it becomes difficult to tell where you end and the world begins. Consider how often you believed that life was happening to you, that you were a passive character wandering through an already written script, and yet, at the same time, you have experienced flashes of something else. Moments when your thoughts, your feelings, your intentions seem to ripple outward and change the very atmosphere around you. Perhaps it was when you thought of someone and they called, or when you imagined a possibility and soon after the opportunity appeared, or when you shifted your mood and suddenly the world responded differently. These are not accidents. They are glimpses of a truth too vast to be contained in coincidence. They are signs that you are not simply moving through a pre-constructed world, but actively sculpting it through your awareness. The paradox deepens here. You are not the sole author of reality, and yet without you, this reality cannot take the shape it has now. The field of existence is infinite, brimming with countless probabilities, endless timelines, an ocean of possibilities waiting to crystallize. But the crystallization only happens through the lens of attention, and your attention is not neutral. It carries charge, resonance, frequency. It is like a brush dipped in color painting across the canvas of the infinite. Where you place it, reality bends. Where you withdraw it, reality dissolves back into potential. This is why the state of your being matters more than you know, because reality does not merely follow events, it follows you. Have you noticed how the same external situation can feel like heaven one day and hell the next, depending on your state of being? The weather is the same, the people are the same, the circumstances unchanged, and yet everything feels different because you are different. This is not imagination. It is the mechanics of consciousness. Your inner frequency alters the geometry of your perception, and perception is not passive, it is active. It selects, it organizes, it filters, it amplifies. Two people can stand in the same place, experience the same event, and live entirely different realities. The difference is not in what happens, the difference is in what they are tuned to receive. This is why reality is not as fixed as it seems. It bends, subtly, but surely, around the architecture of your awareness. You may think you are small, but your attention is vast, and it reaches further than you realize. It whispers to the quantum field. It nudges probabilities. It invites synchronicity. And here lies another paradox. You are not consciously aware of most of the ripples you send, yet they shape everything. Just as the heart beats without your command, your consciousness is radiating at every moment, broadcasting frequencies into the field, calling forth matching reflection. You are a transmitter as much as you are a receiver. Life is not just happening in front of you, it is responding to you. Pause here and breathe into that recognition. The ground beneath your feet is not as solid as you once believed. It is responsive, it is alive, it is listening. Every thought is a seed, every feeling is a vibration, every choice is a signal, and while it may not always manifest instantly, the pattern is set in motion the moment you align with it. This is why awareness is power. This is why presence is creation, because the field does not respond to what you merely say. It responds to what you embody. It listens not to your words, but to your frequency, and your frequency is the sum of your attention, your beliefs, your emotions, your state of being in this very moment. Now you may wonder, if reality is so responsive, why does it not always give you what you desire? Why do you sometimes intend with all your might only to be met with silence or resistance? Here is the paradox once again. The universe does not respond to the surface of your desires. It responds to the depth of your vibration. You can declare abundance while embodying lack, and the field will reflect the lack. You can cry out for love while radiating unworthiness, and the field will mirror the unworthiness. The field is exact. It does not judge. It does not punish. It simply reflects with infinite precision, and this reflection is not cruelty. It is clarity. It shows you what you are truly embodying, so that you can awaken to the places where you have abandoned your own truth. The moment you shift inwardly, even slightly, the outer world begins to reconfigure. It may not happen in a flash of lightning, though sometimes it does. More often it is subtle. A new conversation, an unexpected alignment, a door that was closed quietly creaking open, and then, as you continue to hold the new frequency, the reflection strengthens, until what once seemed impossible stands before you as undeniable reality. This is the dance you are already in, whether you acknowledge it or not. The difference now is that you are beginning to see it, beginning to recognize that your awareness is not powerless, but profoundly creative. There is a danger here, though, one you must hold with compassion. The mind may want to use this knowledge to control, to manipulate, to force outcomes, but the paradox is that reality bends not when you grip it tightly, But when you relax into coherence, it bends when your inner state aligns with your deeper truth, not when you attempt to demand something from fear. The field is merciful. It does not hand you everything your mind clamors for, because it is listening to the deeper signal, the one beneath the noise. It responds to your essence, not your franticness, and when you drop into that essence, reality flows with grace. So listen closely now. You are not trapped in a fixed story. The chapter you thought was inevitable is not sealed. The trajectory you feared was permanent is malleable. Your very awareness in this moment is already rewriting the script. The fact that you are hearing these words proves that you are stepping into the recognition of your role as co-creator. The solidity of life is an illusion designed to give you stability, but beneath it all is a living fabric, a dream that reshapes itself in response to you. And here is the paradox that completes this revelation. The more you recognize your creative power, the less you need to force anything. The more you see reality bending to your state of being, the more gently you live. You do not chase. You do not beg. You do not wrestle with what is. You become still, clear, coherent, and from that coherence, reality bends effortlessly. What once required struggle now arrives as if by magnetism. What once felt impossible becomes natural, because you are no longer trying to impose your will on reality. You are aligning with the deeper rhythm that has always been guiding you. So feel this now in your body, the truth that reality is not fixed, that it bends, that it listens. Let it dissolve the despair that told you nothing could change. Let it melt the fear that convinced you the story was already written. Let it remind you that every moment is pliable, every outcome adjustable, every timeline available. You are not powerless here. You never were. You are the dreamer within the dream. And now we arrive at the final whisper, the culmination of everything that has been unfolding within you as you've walked through this transmission. There comes a moment where listening is no longer enough, where recognition alone cannot carry you further. This is that moment. You have been shown that you are not here by accident, that timing is precise, that distractions test your devotion, that reality bends to the frequency you embody. But all of this remains a sleeping potential until you choose to step across the threshold. There is a doorway before you now, not a literal one, but one within your awareness, and it is asking you not just to observe it, but to enter. The paradox here is that the doorway has always been present. It was there yesterday, it was there last year, it was there in moments when you felt lost, and it will remain tomorrow. Yet it is only now, in this exact instant, that you are truly able to perceive it. The soul has ripened to the point where the doorway is no longer invisible, and once you see it, the question is no longer if it exists. The question becomes whether you will walk through. Many stand before this threshold, nodding at its beauty, even weeping at its presence, but then they turn back, afraid of the unknown. Yet you, if you are still here, you have been prepared for more than just admiring the doorway. You are being called to cross it. Crossing does not mean that your life instantly becomes free of difficulty. It does not mean that challenges vanish, or that you float into some unreachable perfection. No, the paradox is that crossing the threshold does not take you away from life. It drops you more deeply into it. It is not an escape, but an arrival. It is the moment you stop postponing your alignment and begin to embody it. Not as a future possibility, but as your present state of being. It is the moment you stop saying someday and begin to live as if the soul's timing is now, because it is. And what does it mean practically to step through? It means to begin treating your awareness as sacred, to honor the subtle nudges that you used to dismiss, to respond to synchronicities with reverence instead of doubt. It means to cultivate coherence between your inner state and the life you long to live. It means to stop waiting for permission from a world that has never understood your depth and to begin authoring your life from the recognition that you are not powerless. This is not about changing everything overnight. It is about committing here and now to stop abandoning yourself when the old noise tries to pull you back, to stop skipping the moments that matter, to stay, to listen, to embody. Perhaps a part of you hesitates, wondering if you are ready, fearing that you are still too flawed, too broken, too unprepared, but feel the truth rising beneath that doubt. Readiness is not perfection. Readiness is willingness. If you are willing to trust that the universe did not bring you here by mistake, then you are ready. If you are willing to step forward, even trembling, then you are ready. If you are willing to stop numbing yourself with distractions and turn toward the unknown, then you are ready. The soul does not require that you be flawless. It only requires that you show up. You are not being asked to walk this path alone. The same intelligence that wove your life with such precision to bring you to this moment will continue to weave ahead of you. Support will rise to meet you. The right people will appear. The right opportunities will unfold. The right synchronicities will multiply. Not because you control them, but because you align with them. That is the mystery. When you cross the threshold, the field bends to support your cross. You will still feel fear at times, but fear will no longer paralyze you. You will still encounter obstacles, but they will become invitations instead of prisons. You will still hear the old voices of doubt, but they will grow quieter as you practice listening to the deeper voice that called you here. This is the moment where your role shifts from seeker to participant. You are no longer standing at the edge, dipping your toes into the stream. You are stepping in fully, allowing the current to carry you. This is not surrender to passivity, but surrender to flow. Surrender to the intelligence that has always guided you beneath the surface of your awareness. To cross the threshold is to stop resisting the call that has whispered your name in every moment of longing, every ache for something more, every sense that life is bigger than the roles you have played. So feel this invitation now, not as an abstract idea, but as a visceral reality. You are not merely listening to words. You are standing at the doorway of a new chapter. The universe has orchestrated your presence here, and now it asks for your participation. This is not the end of a video. It is the beginning of a